Hi, everyone. Welcome to my Thursday night real estate investors hangout. I'm so glad you guys could make it tonight. We started a little bit late. I had a few technical glitches. I am broadcasting this live on Google Hangouts as well as on Periscope. So the Periscope viewers are watching the screen through the phone. You can probably see a tiny bit of pink over here in the corner. So that's where my phone is pointing at the screen. So we're going to be doing slides tonight, and I'm just hoping that everybody can see it really well. I'm trying to move it so they get a better view. Hopefully you don't mind seeing the phone there in the corner for the Periscope people. There we go. All right, so I know a lot of people do wholesaling, but it's a little bit harder to find the private lenders. And the other thing people do is they go find a deal, and then they end up getting a hard money lender because they didn't have a private lender lined up. So that's what I want you guys to be able to do. Thanks for joining, guys, on the Periscope and bringing in some replay viewers and some of your friends. So share it out so they can join, tweet it out. If you want the link to register, the link is right in my tweets on Twitter. So you'll be able to find a link there to register. All right, I'm going to jump in and start the training, and then I'll give you an opportunity later on and tell you where to find an ebook that will give you more training and a few resources that you can use to help you get started, because I really want people to find their own private lenders. If you want to know some of the details about why you need private lenders, go to my YouTube channel. I've done several trainings, Google Hangouts, on why you need private lenders. I'm not going to talk tonight about why you need them. I'm going to talk about mistakes that you could make when you're trying to get those private lenders to work with you, okay? So let me do a slide share, and we'll jump right into the slides, okay? I'm going to make my slides really big over here. There we go. All right, so we're going to jump into the slides. So if you're on Periscope, guys, hopefully you can see it. Welcome. Thanks for joining if you're on Periscope. So I'm not going to address Periscope viewers much. I'm just going to talk about the training, and then you know, we can have questions in chat at the end. Thanks, LC Homebuyers, for joining. So I guess that's the biggest size I can make the slides for you guys. It's as close as I can make it. I would just want to make it as close as, let's see, can I watch the Google Hangout later? Yes, the replay, if you sign up, you'll get a replay link, and that link will be emailed to you like 2 hours after the broadcast. Okay. All right, so let's get started. So how to overcome the 7 common mistakes investors make in approaching private lenders. So I'm going to start here. This is an apartment building that I used to own, a 9-unit, as well as, thanks for inviting followers, guys, as well as just one of the first houses that I bought. And I bought this from another investor. I'm going to make it just a little bigger. Okay. So how did I get started on this? Let me just put the poll up here. If you're on the Hangout, go ahead and let me know how many deals you've done. There's a poll there. And if you're on Periscope, you can type in to the chat how many deals you've done. 1 to 3 or more than 3, and if it's flips or wholesales. That gives me an idea of the experience level of the audience. All right, so it's getting warm in the room. I got lights on everywhere. All right, let's jump into background. Okay. I was laid off in 2003, and at that point, I already had 3 rentals. I'd been a landlord since '89, and I had a big mortgage and 9-month-old twins. My property manager just sent me a text right in the middle of this, so sorry, guys. It does happen. All right, so that's what happened. That's what happened with me. So here's the 3 rentals I had. I had used traditional lending, which is kind of what you do when you have a job and you're just working. And my first condo I had kept. It was a 20-year mortgage back in the day, and I had paid that off. And the other one I had was I had a New Jersey townhome rental, and I had a 30-year mortgage on that. I was probably 10 years into the mortgage when I got laid off. B of A, and I just don't like Bank of America, but. And then I had a San Diego rental. This was also a townhouse. And we had refinanced the mortgage into a 30-year mortgage. So that's where I was at. All I knew was traditional lending, just like you guys. I mean, that's where I started. Okay, so what happened after I got laid off is I spent a lot of time on my education. I got all the books, I went to the RIA clubs, and I started taking courses. So in 3 years, I owned, by 2006, I owned 60 units. That's when I closed on some of the deals that I owned. And they were apartment buildings and houses and new construction and all that sort of stuff. And I had learned the alternative ways to fund my deals. So that's where my experience comes from. Probably been using private lending for over 10 years now. So we're going to talk about the common mistakes that you could be making with private lenders. Now, I have this real estate investor matrix, and I think that you get emailed that every time you sign up for the Hangout if you're a regular. It's at the bottom of the email. Thanks for the hearts, guys. And you'll see at the top, I have different kinds of investors: the private lender, the landlord, the flipper, and the wholesaler. Now, your private lender, all they really need is cash and or credit to work with you. They don't have the skills a landlord has. They don't have the time and the skills needed to wholesale. They don't know how to hire contractors like a flipper does. They don't have those skills and they don't need them. They have cash, right? That's really what we're after. So your private lender is a different part of your team, but they have the cash and the credit, and they might know about all this because they used to be an investor. Thanks for inviting followers, my Periscope viewers. You guys are doing great. But they don't need any of that. A lot of my private lenders don't really know anything about real estate except they own their own home, and they've heard it's good to get into, but they don't have the time, or they'd rather not spend the time getting into it, but they really like the return that comes with it. So in those cases, my private lenders are people who have W-2 jobs, or they've done well in their business. They can be laid off, they could be retired, it doesn't really matter. So that's really all your private lender needs. And if you think about that, that's where a lot of the mistakes come from, is because we want to tell them all about all this other stuff down here in the bottom of the matrix. And they don't really need to know. They need to know certain things, but they don't care about this. Okay. They have cash and they have credit. All right. So what I want you to do is work on shifting your mindset. Most of what you have to do with a private lender is shift your mindset away from you. Okay. It's all about what you can do to serve that lender. And the first lenders are usually family and friends. Now, I didn't throw up a picture of my family on this one. What I did was show you a picture of, I used to take real estate investors out on tours when there were tons of REOs around here, and we'd rent a van, on a Saturday and go to like 15 houses. So everyone's really happy. I do recommend you get to see a lot of deals before you buy one, but many people spend all their time finding the deal, and not finding the money. So when you're starting out and throughout your career, there's 4 things you do in real estate. I call it the 4 F's: find, fund, fix, and flip. So you're always if you're doing one of those tasks every day, you're moving forward. But when you're finding deals and finding lenders. Okay, funding is just when you're moving their money into the deal after you've already got them, after you've already found them. So find, fund, fix, and flip. And tonight we're talking about what mistakes you could make while you're trying to find private lenders. Okay, and those will definitely turn them off if you don't shift your mindset towards your private lender. So mistake number 1, let's go for it. Mistake number 1 is asking for money for your deal. Now, you're out there banging the pavement all the time. We buy houses. You're calling everybody. You're talking to local wholesalers, retailers, everybody. And you start, when you go to a private lender, you say, hey, I've got a deal. Can you lend me some money? what I want you to do instead is to find out how their investments are doing. Be interested in them. Welcome, Blue Elephant, to the show. You're offering a service. You're offering a service to them. And you need to make that shift in your brain about the service you have to offer. Come to them with a service that you're offering instead of asking. So you're giving something to them. So if you come with a giving heart and a giving mindset, you're going to do well, because people like it when you help them out. Remember, they're going to do business with you if they know, like, and trust you. So first of all, if they're a private lender, they know you. They know you privately or from work or something. So they know you. They probably like you, or you wouldn't even ask them. Now they have to become to trust you based on what you tell them about your deals. Okay. So shift your mindset. Do not ask for money for your deal, for your great deal, because you think it's great. Of course, we all think our deals are great. So your terms are something they can get nowhere else. Let me take a sip of water here. They cannot get these terms like we give 10% interest. They can't get that anyplace else. But they've never heard of your service. So your job is not to ask them for money. Your job is to educate them about how this works. So I have the agreement, an agreement for purchase of a real estate there up on the right. But I want you to have had your conversations with private lenders before you sign a purchase agreement. Okay, once you sign a purchase agreement, I'm not going to say it's too late, but it's really too late to find new, good private lenders. You're going to end up with a hard money lender. And I'll debunk that myth about hard money lenders. Because when you first start out, you think, oh, these hard money lenders, they've got some magic sauce, that I don't have. Hard money lenders get their money from their own funds. They might have a credit line with the bank if they have really good credit and a lot of money in the bank. So they use the credit line. Or they have their own cash, or they have a bunch of private lenders. So when they lend it to you, say my private lenders will lend to you at 10%, they're going to tack on the 5 points to get their money out of the deal. So usually the lender behind the hard money lender gets the percentage, and the hard money lender gets the points. That's how they get paid. It's really a transaction for them. Okay. So mistake number 2 is talking about the deal and its benefits to you. So right here, I wanted to put up the picture of one of our rehabs up in Sacramento, where we already had the dumpster out there. Okay, talking about the deal and how much money you're going to make on the deal, that really doesn't matter to them. Think about them. Think about when you're investing your money in a car, or when you're buying a stock or something. You care about whether that car is going to be right for you. You really don't care about the guy at the salesman at the car dealership and what car he drives. That doesn't matter to you. You want to know if the car is good for you. And when you buy stock, you want to know, is Apple stock going to make money for you? You don't really care about the phones unless those phones are going to make money for you in your stock account. So for them, the deal is a vehicle. It's a vehicle to get a better return on their savings. They may not know about real estate. They've heard about it, but they may not care about all the nitty gritty that you guys do. Okay. So mistake number 3, being in a hurry because you found a deal. Again, this goes back to spending equal amounts of time trying to find private lenders as you do finding deals, and your real estate business will explode. Most people spend 95% of their time finding the deal, kind of as if they were going to go get a mortgage, and then they think they can just go get a private lender, the same as running to a bank and doing an application. So because people are used to buying their own property like a house, they think it works the same, and it doesn't. So spend as much time on the private lenders as you do looking for the deals. Hi, welcome. Thanks to the Periscope broadcast. So what I did here was put up a preliminary title report. That's too late. Once you've gotten a preliminary title report and you've got your heart set on buying this flip, this is one of our Sacramento flips, it's too late because they don't care that you only have 10 days to close, 30 days, 2 days, whatever. If you're in a hurry about money, it sounds desperate. Do never be in a hurry about money. It almost rhymes, but not quite. So don't be in a hurry. It'll really turn them off. Okay. You want them coming to you like, well, we have a deal. We don't have any deals right now, but I'll let you know as soon as we have one. And then they're asking you, do you have another deal? Are you ready? You know, and sometimes when you approach them, they're not ready now because there's something else going on in their life. It's a different situation. But their time will come when all of a sudden they are ready to invest with you, and then they'll come and ask you. Okay. So don't be in a hurry. Find the private lenders first. And then you can be in a hurry when you tell them there's a deal because they've already heard about you, they're comfortable, and they know the details. So let's move on to mistake number 4, not understanding what your private lender needs. Your private lender needs their principal back, and they need interest. They need to trust you, and they need reassurance that the deal is going to make them money. That's what you need to know about your private lender. Okay, let's go to mistake number 5. Mistake number 5 is not being able to honestly explain the risks of the investment. And I'll talk about 2 different things. You know, just these pictures give me some examples to talk about. They want to know what you do to mitigate the risk involved, and how do you minimize risks with your own planning. Thanks for inviting followers. My Periscope guys, you're blowing it up tonight. Thanks so much. All right. So in the first one, I had a house. The people were on Section 8. The lady got arrested. I think her adult kids were still there, and they couldn't afford the water bill. Something leaked in the basement or backed up. Hi, welcome, Tian. And the basement was flooded, I guess, at one point, but this is what it looked like afterwards. It's just all brown and a mess, and they had mattresses in the bottom and all sorts of stuff. This other property here was a 27-unit apartment building that I owned, and you know, it was a regular bank loan, but many different things can happen. Pipes can break, tenants can move out, you know, pipes could burst. We needed a furnace. Fires happen. There's fire alarms. I mean, they need to know that you have experience and that you have a plan. What I did when I first bought this apartment building is I kept the prior owner on as the manager for 2 years. And that kept things running smoothly till I was up to speed on how that happened. Okay, mistake number 6 is not understanding the documents. This was just a picture with, this was a training that I did in one of our rehab houses. And we had people estimate the budget, but it just has a picture of some documents out there so people understand. So these are the documents that your private lender is secured by. This is what makes them sleep at night. There's hazard insurance on the property, hazard and liability. There's title insurance that you got, meaning that, you know, you have the right to own that property, and that happens at escrow. Title insurance is secured prior to escrow. There's only a few people that insure rehabs and vacant houses, but any title insurance can insure a rental. It's just there's very few. Foremost is the one that I use, and I think there's only one other one, and there's very few that will insure a vacant house, and that's what it's called when you're flipping. So when you're flipping, it's vacant, and you can't just get a regular homeowner's policy. They will not let you get it. Understand how the notes work in your state. What kind of notes? What is the note? Is it a straight note with just straight interest amortized over, you know, the year, or sorry, spread out over the year? And then depending on your state, in the East, it's more East United States is mostly mortgages. Here in the West, we use deeds of trust. So understanding those documents and how they're related, how the note that of the money that you owe them is secured by the deed of trust. Know if your LLC is going to be the one holding the title, then the note is to the LLC. But these are all secured by the deed of trust onto the property. So make sure your private lender is secure. I do have a friend who talked a bit about back when the economy turned down, he lost some money of the private lenders and he had to turn the house back over to them. So at least they were covered by the documents. Okay, mistake number 6. Here's another. This is all part of number 6 for the documents. I really want you guys to understand the HUD. And some of you have bought a house before and you've had a HUD, but there's a lot of confusing stuff on there. So I want you to go line by line through a HUD. It doesn't have to be yours. It could be a friend that's flipping houses, or just look one up online and educate yourself about it. Learn what goes in each line and how the private lender gets paid back at escrow. And I'm going to show you how that is. I kind of blew this up. This is one of our deals. We sold it in March of this year, and the private lender was what do you call it? A direct IRA, self-directed IRA. And so the principal was $72,000 that they lent. And at the end, when we closed and sold this was up in Sacramento, the Sacramento area. The interest they got from October through March at 10% interest was $3,274.52. I just say that to show how exact it is. And then we also pay for the wire fees. We reimburse them for the wire fees when it comes through. In this case, we were paying for the wire fee, but we reimburse them at the end for the wire fee that they wired into us, because we don't want them to have any costs. We want them to just get a straight interest rate, and we've covered their wire costs. So anyway, that is what the page will look like when you sell. This deal happened to be subject to, so the reason we didn't need too much from the private lender is we had a $54,000 mortgage with Ocwen, and we had taken that over subject to. There really wasn't even much negotiation on that except to deal with the heirs of the estate, because the person had passed away. And so when the heirs were working through the estate, they said, yeah, you can take the house over subject to. You're only going to own it a few months. We kept making up the payments, and it really wasn't affecting anyone's credit because the person who got the loan had already died. So no one was too worried about the loan, and Ocwen was perfectly okay with that. We just kept sending in, the money. They did want to collect taxes at the end when we, the property tax, and they could only give it back to the owner who had passed on. So it was just another way for them to collect a little extra money. But, we still made money on the deal. All right, let's move into mistake number 7. Mistake number 7 is not being able to bring experience to the deal. And I would say that this is probably the hardest thing for new investors to deal with. They just don't know what to do. So here, I've got a couple suggestions here in the next couple slides. So one is to wholesale a couple of deals for experience. You at least understand the transactions and how they work, and you understand how much money a rehabber would pay for the property. Walk through the house with the rehabber, if you're wholesaling it to them, and find out what they would fix and what they wouldn't fix. Also, go to a couple of houses that people are actually rehabbing and walk through when they're working on them and just see what they're doing, meet the crews. Go to your local REIA club and find these people. And if not, drive around until you see someone fixing up a house. There's probably 4 going on in my town right now. And I would just stop by and say, hi, I just wanted to know if you guys need any work. And that's one way to definitely start a conversation with the contractors. Do you guys need work? Then B is partner up with other rehabbers. So nothing makes a private lender feel more comfortable than to know that you have experienced people on your team. So you may be hitting the pavement finding the deal, but you make a partnership with a rehabber on your first deal where they didn't even have to find the deal. They didn't have to find the money because you had the private lender, but they're going to make half for working with the crew, making sure you stay on budget, and teaching you the whole rehab experience. And the third way to bring experience to the deal is to hire the right contractor. I think I have something about that in the next slide. Okay, so I said, now here, I'll go through some of the answers for mistake number 7. wholesale a few for cash, build up your cash, and you don't even have to do the whole wholesale yourself. You can either find the house and find another wholesaler who has a buyer's list, or you can find another wholesaler and you have the buyer. Okay, so you don't have to involve any private lenders in this. Just learn the transactions and how they work. Okay, so for B, the other part is find a partner who has rehab experience. The reason I threw up this picture is because I had the experience and the crew, and my friend didn't have any experience in that market, but they put up money to do the deal. So they felt confident that since I already had 5 houses in this market and a crew, hi, thanks for joining the Periscope broadcast. They brought cash for their deal. So you can also find partners who have experience in their market and just offer to bring some cash into their deal. Say you're going to bring them just the rehab costs, and the cash comes from the private lender that you've been talking with, and your private lender says, well, I really want to see it go through a deal first before I lend more to you. So bring some of that money and find a partner, do a JV agreement, and bring that money into the deal. It's just a great way to get started. All right, thank you for, if you like this, guys, tap the hearts and also share it out to your followers on Periscope and Twitter, and they can always watch the replay as well. Okay, the other one is the other answer to mistake number 7, not having experience, is to find contractors who have flipped properties. And one of my first partners was like this. He was an investor with a contractor license and a realtor license, and we didn't use his contractor license. I think we might have listed one of them with him. We used his realtor license just to do a flat fee listing for, at cost. But he definitely understood how to do the contracting and how to find the right. And he also had another friend who just interviewed all the subs, and he'd been in construction, for 10 years. Okay, and the other thing about number 7, bringing experience to the deal, here's another way you can counter that problem. And that is, how do you show your real estate education and a deal analysis to your private lender? So first of all, go through any of the courses you've taken and print out any certificates of completion that you have. It's usually like a 8.5 by 11 certificate saying, you took wholesaling or private lending or the rehab course or whatever. And then if the course you took did not have a certificate, just get on Google, download a certificate, or get it out of Word or Pages and create your own certificate, the name of the course, and the date that you took it. So you could have a pile of 5 or 6 certificates from your different education. This really helps people understand that you've put in the time and the effort before, you started doing a deal with them. And the other thing to do is do an analysis. And I'm going to give you a software link in a few minutes to a free software that you can do, and it will present the deal in a nice, pretty way on a couple pages so that you can bring it to your investor. Now, your investor is not going to look through all the numbers unless they're a previous investor. But if they're a regular person with a W-2 job, they just want to see that you thought about it, that you've analyzed it, that you've gone through the details. Okay. So what do you need to do next? Learn about investment returns that are alternatives for them. So learn what the stock market alternatives are. Learn what they can make with bonds. Learn what they can make with CDs. Understand that other world. Because when they ask you questions, you're going to tell them about why your investment is, better than the ones they already have. You can also get my ebook by going to wisewealthuniversity.com. And there's a link at the top. There's a button right on the front page. And there's also a link at the top under products that says private lending ebook. And the other thing you need to do, once you get the book, you'll realize that you already know private lenders, and you just have to go through all your contacts in a systematic way and figure out who those private lenders are, or private lenders that your friends already know. So it's your circle of influence and then the circle of influence of your friends. And that usually covers enough people to land a couple private lenders. So once I stop the slides, I'll jump back on and remind me, I'm going to give you guys those links. So all you need to do after you get the whole thing started is to rinse and repeat. You can use private lenders for flipping as well as holding rentals. So for flipping, we give people 10%. If it's a, because that's a short-term thing, 3 to 6 months. If we are going to, hi, Mortgage Express, thanks for joining. If we are doing a rental and that's long-term, they're going to get a monthly or a quarterly interest, then we go down to 6%. But all of that is negotiable, all right? So I'm going to stop screen sharing and show you guys just, a couple links where you can get those resources. All right. So thanks for watching the slides. I'm going to give you a resource here for my ebook. Oops. If you want to know, if you're on this broadcast and you want to know more, if you're on the Hangout, you can see on the right or the left, there's something about a download link to the private lender's ebook. If you're on Periscope, you'll need to go to my website, and that is in my, no, I don't provide private money to outside people. I'm using it on all my own investments. Let me go to the site here and I'll show you. All right, so you guys, if you, let me get rid of that. So if you want the ebook, you just go to my site, wisewealthuniversity.com, and click on this link, Private Lending Ebook. And that will give you, you can just download the ebook. All right, so I'll just click on it to show it to you. Yeah, so there's the course. You just, your name and email, and you'll get the ebook. I'm upgrading the cover right now, but the internal stuff hasn't changed. Everything that's written in there has not changed. Okay, so. And the second thing I promised you, you guys can download the ebook if you are in the Hangout. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, you won't see this pop out, so you'll have to go to the website as well. And there's probably a link, on the YouTube, in my YouTube too, because my channel and my website are the same name. And there's one more. I'm hoping everyone was able to click on that. All right, so I'm going to do one more. I've got one more thing to show you on my resource page here. Yes, I've got a question coming in on the chat. Do I consult on private money? Yes, I do. So if you're in the Google Hangout, you can go to this link here to investor resources. And if you're watching the replay or you're on Periscope, I will take you to the resource page on my website. All right, so on the resource page, it's wisewealthuniversity.com, and just click on the link on the main menu to resources. And let me bring you down to the software. Let's see what I did with it. It's just for private lending. Oh, here it is. Okay, so there's two softwares. One's for rentals and one's for flips, and it's totally free. So if you click on that link in my resources page, you will get to a free software. No, there's not a fee for that. So it's for wholesalers, rehabbers, and investors. And then I think the rental one takes you to the same page. Yep. Well, it's a slightly different version, but they're both free. So there's a light version for free. So go to my resource page and you can get that software. It's totally free for you guys. Okay, so let me go back to the Hangout. I will check the chat. I think most of our questions are coming in on Periscope. So I'm going to flip the phone over so you guys can see me. And I may even continue the Q&A just on the Periscope in a few minutes. So what is the cost of the full course? Can you be more specific about the course? Because I just gave you some training and then the ebook's free. The resource link I just gave you is really just an Excel spreadsheet. There's a free one, and then I think the full version is $69 or something. Oh, private money. Right. I do coaching. So if you go to my website, there is a place there for coaching, and that would include private lending or whatever type of real estate, you guys needed. But I don't have a specific course right now on private lending. I'm going to open one up in January. So that's why I'm doing so many hangouts and things directed towards private lending. So I'm going to have a course where people would be trained each week, and we can go over the different problems they have and help them with those so that they can get their own private lenders. Sorry if my voice is fading out a little bit. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up with the Google Hangout, and everyone who's on Periscope can keep asking questions. All right, so anyway, thank you guys for watching the private lending and the 7 mistakes that you can make. I'm going to just share out a couple of other ways that you can contact me. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm the Pink Professor, and you can also register for my weekly Hangouts by going to wisewealthuniversity.com/hangouts or use the menu at the top of the page. All right, guys, I'm going to close out the broadcast. Thank you so much for watching on and Periscope, guys. You don't have to go away. We can keep chatting. But thank you so much for watching on the Google Hangout, and I'll see you next Thursday.